Hey, this is Mike. Thank you so much for choosing this video. Today I'm checking out a 2023 Volvo XC90 B6 all-wheel drive in the Ultimate trim. Now this is the 7-seater with a third row seat. This vehicle is sitting on 275/40 Pirelli tires wrapped around 21-inch alloy wheels with a gloss black finish. It also has 4-wheel disc brakes with ventilated rotors on all 4 wheels. The name of this color is Platinum Gray Metallic. And this is one of those type of vehicles that doesn't have a huge amount of color options. There's actually a couple grays. But this one looks like brown to me. Looks like a kind of medium brown. So hopefully the camera's doing it justice. So here in the front, quite a bit of chrome, especially around the grille. So the grille area is surrounded by chrome. It also has these little strips right here, separate from the side, which is like a silver color, that are chrome. Now the Volvo badge here in the center also has a little camera, which is located here, integrated for the 360 camera system. And I'll show you what it looks like. It looks really nice on the screen. There's also sonar sensors here in the front for the parking sensors right there, integrated here, and also one here on the side. And they do a really good job of letting you know not only that there's something there, but what side, but also the distance. It even shows you on the screen on the camera system. Gives you like a little visual indicator. Now the headlights are really nice. You got to check out my night video. I have a full overview lighting of this vehicle inside and out. And the headlights are a multi-reflector, low and high beams. And the fog lights are also a reflector LED. And it also has the Thor's hammer daytime running light, which is pretty cool. And it also dubs as the turn signal as well. These little squares are the headlight washers. So as you wash the windshield, these pop out and can wash the kind of spray liquid on the headlights. So if there's any kind of like loose dust or anything like that, it'll be sprayed off. So looking at the profile here, you notice it has the same color around the wheel wells. There's not like a black cladding or anything like that going on. There is some more chrome here on the base of the doors. And check out those wheels. 21-inch alloy wheels, and they look fantastic, especially on a vehicle like this. Not too gaudy, very classy looking. And the size, I mean, 21-inch, they don't look oversized really on this vehicle. They just kind of look fine, you know, to me anyways. So the pillars on the doors are a gloss black here as well as here, so that way it kind of solidifies this privacy glass here. Now if you were to tint the front glass, it kind of would solidify everything together. And what really kind of makes that happen as well is the chrome trim around the outside, but not on the pillars there. It has body colored handles and side mirrors as well, here and here. And on the other underside of each side mirror is another camera for the 360 camera system. This is what the key looks like. And this is basically the same Volvo key. They've used this for a while now. And it has the buttons on the edge here and here. There's a panic button. There's the Volvo badge on one side and just basically a blank surface on the other side. Now it is relatively bulky and has a little bit of weight to it. So it's not very fun carrying it around. This one has the hard plastic. It doesn't have like any kind of leather wrapping or fancy wrapping. It's just hard plastic on the outside. Some of them had like a leather. I did a XC90 Excellence and it had the leather here on the sides, and it's really cool. It had like its own, it came with its own custom champagne glasses. You got to check out that video of the Excellence. But anyways, lock, unlock. The ability to open up the power liftgate is here. And I noticed these buttons are not, you kind of have to press them good. I mean, you really have to bear down on them to make sure you press them. They don't accidentally press very easy, and that's good because they're on the edge, which is other vehicles that do that. It's so easy to press those buttons. Like the keys just fold over in your pocket and press the button, and next thing you know, the panic button's going off, or you walk outside and your lift gate's up. You know, stuff like that. You just don't want that. So let's go ahead and press this panic button here. So that's what the horn sounds like. So as long as you have this key with you, it can be in your pocket, in a bag, as long as it's on the outside of the door and it knows where the key is. The proximity system, this is the full proximity system. It knows right where the key is, inside, outside, that kind of thing. So you can be on the outside of any one of these doors and do this, the front or the back. You unlock the door, you lock it simply by putting your finger or hand over the sensor indicated by this little dimple right here. And don't let this little dimple confuse you, that doesn't do anything. This is the sensor here. Now you can put your hand or your finger or whatever, as long as it senses the key, it senses your hand position, and it locks the doors. And also have it set to where it folds the side mirrors in when it locks the doors. To unlock it, you simply put your hand on the inside of the handle here. There's a sensor here, and it will, as long as the key's on the outside of the door, it'll unlock and allow you access to the vehicle. There's also a physical key location here on the driver's side only. Now you can set it in the settings to where it unlocks this door or all the doors when you do this. So depending on your needs, you can set it either way. Now the doors don't go all the way down, but they do cover a good portion of this threshold area. So you can see there's a seal right in here. So right in here is a seal, but below that could potentially get dirty. But from here up, it keeps it relatively clean. So that way, when you're entering and exiting the vehicle, you don't get less chance of getting your clothes dirty, basically. Be nice if the doors went all the way down like the XC40 and stuff. Here's the inside of the driver's side door. Really impressive, especially this wood grain here. It's like you can feel the grain in the wood. It looks really nice. It's like a blonde, a light colored wood. The contours of the door is nice. And it has that chrome trim with a metallic handle. Also aluminum speaker grills, just really nice. And also really good sound system. The Bowers & Wilkins sound system is fantastic. It also has a 3-position memory seat here on the passenger side. Isn't that nice? So this is a soft touch, like a leather surface right here. Then you got the wood, the chrome. This is a soft touch, like a vinyl type material here and here. And then down here it is kind of semi-soft, and then the only hard touch surface is down here. Now this is a large storage compartment here, and it's relatively handy. It's kind of open. And then you can put large bottles and stuff in here, which is good. This is enclosed, so you can utilize that as a pocket as well. Alright, so a little bit of a sill plate there, the Volvo badging. It also is illuminated at night. Gotta check out my night video. Okay, so the passenger seat has basically the same functionality actually as the driver's seat with the power, different positions here. It has the ability to tilt, raise, lower, all that stuff. You have, what's interesting about this vehicle is that this switch right here activates here on the center screen, and you have to look at it and kind of dial in what you want. So to position the seat properly, you really need to use the screen in conjunction with this little button and switches. Because basically what this button does is change what these switches do. So they could potentially move this out so the thigh extension comes out. The bolsters are adjustable. Also, you have the 4-way lumbar adjustment, which is adjustable, as well as a massage, which is adjustable. So all these are controlled with that in conjunction with the screen. Very impressive. Leather trim seats. Perforations all about. It also has heated and ventilated seats, so that makes use of those perforations. And they're comfortable. The only issue with these type of seats is there's so much adjustments that you can actually adjust it to where it's uncomfortable. So if somebody else adjusts the seat and then you get in it, it's like, wow, these seats are really uncomfortable. It's because you kind of have to fine tune them to your desire, to make them comfortable for you. There's the floorboard, and the floor mat snaps in place in 2 places. Mostly open space except for a little tapering going on right here, but there's a very large center, like Great Wall of China over here in the center part. So it doesn't really get in the way, but it is there, and it's all carpeted and everything. And this is soft right here for your knee, if this happens to touch your knee, that kind of thing. Now the glove compartment, this area right here is like a semi-soft material here. The glove compartment is open with this button. And then it has a felt-lined inner compartment, a little shelf in there. So yeah, very, very handy. Usable space. I have more of that open pore wood. This is kind of like rubbery soft here, as well as the dash, soft touch. And really impressive, non-reflective surface. And then I like the way that casts a shadow under here, kind of giving a little bit of depth or height, I guess, to the little bit of style to it. And also it's really nice at night. There's some accent lighting and that flows out. Looks really cool. So you can see the opening here in the front, wide open space, lots of room right in here to get in and out of the vehicle. The seat is a perfect height for me anyway, off the ground, so I could just like get in and out without climbing in or falling in or anything like that. The swing of the door is nice. Here in the back, we have lots of space here, like lots of headroom, a little bit of less room here as far as getting in and out of the vehicle. The swing of the door is a little bit, I think it could come out a little bit more. It would help out with this. Since you already have a little bit of limited space here, I think that would help. Just have a little bit more swing on the door. Here's the inside of the back door, and they're not really skimping on the back door. You do have soft touch here. You got the wood grain, the chrome, the pockets, vinyl type material, soft even here. And then we have the hard touch at the very, very bottom. There's a compartment there. Now it does have the shade, and I love the way they do the shade. Typically these shades, retractable shades, they have the hooks on the ends. This one has it in the middle, so you have full control over that center part. It's right where your hand is. So instead of having like you hook one and not the other, this one you have full control. It's very easy to use, and that's the way I love those shades to be. And I wish all of them were like this. Little tiny baby illuminated sill plate there in the threshold. And the back of the seats are that semi-soft type material with the net pockets on the back on both front seats. All right, so this is the 7-passenger. So we have a seat on the outer sides. There's also one here in the center. And that center seat is removable, and you can fold it down separately than the other ones. So it's technically like three separate seats here put together, kind of like a bench seat. There's a little armrest with some cup holders. You can lift that up out of the way. The center seat has kind of interesting feature. It has an integrated booster. So just grab right here and release it, and then you lift it up this way, and then kind of snap it in place like so. So now, let's say you got a kid, can sit on that, apparently. Now, I'm not sure if they are too small. You have to check your seatbelt regulations on this, because if they might need to be in a seatbelt, I don't know. But anyways, it does have this little booster seat, and it gives you the instructions on how to use it there. Kind of interesting. But yeah, you can fold down these seats. You can also recline them a little bit. Let's see if I can do it one-handed. There we go. I'm reclining a little bit there just to show you. So yeah, you can move them back. They're in their most forward position right now. Then you can fold them down to add to your cargo space, that kind of thing. And they do have the latch system on the outside, but not there in the center. Just on the outer seats. So you have one there and one here. So the floorboard, the floor mats actually snap in place back here as well. A little bit of a hump back here. So the hump is not as big as the one in the middle. Center console is huge, but then when you get back here, it has a small little hump. There is climate control adjustments here with a little touchscreen as well as heated seats, climate control vents, a USB charge port here. Now this is not illuminated. I point this out in the night video, so at nighttime it's kind of hard to see, but it's 2 USB-C ports. So it's not a regular USB. So you have to have the USB-C, either adapter or the actual cord itself. There's 2 ways you can move the seat. You fold a seat basically. One is to just fold it flat like the center seat I have right now. For your cargo, I call that cargo mode because it's adding to your cargo space. But the other way is to use this handle here. And this is for accessing the 3rd row. So it kind of tilts the seat forward, and depending on the front seat, basically gives you a little bit more room to enter the 3rd row, which is not a huge amount of space. So that's something to consider. You can see that the amount of space getting into the 3rd row is not all that great. But, you know, for kids and stuff like that, shouldn't be a problem. And there's pretty decent amount of legroom, which is surprising. You have 2 separate seats here, and they fold down as well. And the headrests stick up quite a bit. So you want to fold these seats down when you're not using them, because they cause quite a bit of a blind spot when you're driving. And I'll show you what it looks like sitting in the driver's seat. Has these cool little cup holders here in the back on both sides. There's also these little armrests, and these lift up, and it has a little storage compartment there. But check it out, it's got like a little spider web and a little spider guarding your valuables, I suppose. Storage compartment there in the center. But yeah, pretty good amount of leg room here. I mean, the distance between the seat and the floor behind there is pretty decent for a 3rd row. Yeah, I see a lot of like huge SUVs and the 3rd row is real cramped, and this one's has some decent cargo space, and it has some decent leg space for the 3rd row, which is kind of surprising. The fuel door is here on the passenger side, and when the vehicle's locked, this door is locked, but when you unlock the vehicle, it'll unlock as well. And it has a capless design. You don't have to worry about taking a cap off or anything. It does say that it requires premium fuel, so you want to keep that in mind when you're looking at the fuel economy and the overall usability of the vehicle. Taking a look at the back of the vehicle, it has these roof rails here, and it also has this body-colored shark fin antenna at the top center. 3rd brake light is at the top of the glass, LED strip there, looking nice. Check out the night video and I'll show you everything. The glass, it also has this wiper, and that wiper sticks out quite a bit, and so this is a type of vehicle you can't go through like a car wash with the spinning brushes and all that stuff, because it'll rip that thing right off. Just keep that in mind. So it has the LED tail lights. It also has an LED fog light as well on the driver's side. So it has the rear fog light as well as the front fog lights. And the front fog lights are for your visibility. Rear fog light is for you to be visible to other drivers. So it has the B6 all-wheel drive badging here, XC90 on the other side. And surprisingly, the backup camera, unlike all the other cameras, has kind of a poor position here, all the way here underneath this V, kind of tacked on, not in the center. I mean, it works okay, but you would think they'd have that in the center, more integrated with the vehicle, in a higher position, that kind of thing, so it'll work better. The parking sensors across the back. Once again, sonar systems here on the edge, as well as all the way here on the side. So the parking sensors basically have a 360 sensing system as well as the camera, and it actually shows up on the screen, which is pretty cool. More chrome back here as well next to the reflectors. So these are reflectors, not any kind of light or anything. Those are just reflectors. And the taillights are pretty cool looking. You got to check out my night video. Opening up the power lift gate, we can of course use the key, or we can push this button, lift it up. Now it has a hard touch surface here, and it has a place to put triangles. this compartment, and a light there in the center, which is great. Once again, check out my night video. But I wish that was carpeted. It'd be nicer if that was carpeted. The cargo area is pretty substantial, even when you have all the seats occupied with passengers. So it's all carpeted here on the sides, the back of the seats. So it's a full carpeted area except for this compartment here. So I was kind of surprised that the inside of the tail lift gate is not carpeted. So it does have a 12-volt power supply, 120 watt. There's an elastic band right here, which is really nice, for you could put something in that compartment and just secure it, like a tall bottle or something like that. And this is an enclosed compartment, so you could put something in there that might potentially spill, and then you can kind of keep it upright, basically. That way it's not really an issue. It does have bag holders, and you can stow those away when you're not using them. There's a light on both sides. Nice. Little cubby there on the left side. These are tie downs, chrome tie downs here, and you can see them there in the, when you fold the seats down here in the right there, you can see them as well. So when you fold these seats down, you can utilize all those forward tie downs, tie down whatever you have back here if you want to. All right, so also this is pretty cool. Let's say you want to load up stuff in the vehicle, you can lower the vehicle using the air suspension. You can lower it right on down. This is pretty cool. Or if you want to raise it, you can raise it. And it goes pretty quick. Pretty nice. Just real easy, quick way of raising and lowering the back of the vehicle. Pretty handy. And unique, you know, not something, now XC90's had that feature, but it's pretty cool. This lifts up, and this floor, it just comes right on out, you know, so you can just access everything easily. So you can see there is a spare tire actually under here. That's the front tag holder. There's a spare tire. It's a full diameter spare tire, but it's basically like a donut type, temporary spare tire, I should say. And then here's some air cylinders, it looks like, for the air suspension system there and here. And then there's the jack, tools, there's a little eyelet, and these are usually reverse thread, just keep that in mind. And there's a little funnel just in case you need to use that. You use a gas can to put gas in the vehicle, you will need that little funnel. But yeah, you can lift this up like this. And take a look at the spare tire. It's interesting seeing all the different places this vehicle is made. So like the jack here is made in Turkey, like transmissions made in Japan, and there's Swedish and Norway, and all kinds of different countries involved with making this vehicle. It's pretty interesting. And it's owned by a Chinese company right now. Now, folding these seats down, it's really easy actually. Well, one thing is you want to fold these headrests at least when you're driving and there's nobody in the third row, because they get in the way. But let's go ahead and fold the seat down. You just lift that up. First it folds the headrest, then it releases the seat. It kind of flops down kind of hard, so you got to watch out if there's kids around. Same thing with the tailgate. I'll show you that in a minute. But you can see it significantly adds to the cargo space just by folding down one seat. So you can see all the seats fold down independently, so you can add to your cargo space while still maintaining some passenger space depending on your needs. And it's relatively flat, you know, and they kind of go together nicely. There's not huge gaps between the seats. So that's nice. Now lifting that seat up, it's not easy to do from this direction. You kind of have to go around to the side door and access it and move the seat out of the way or whatever and get to the seat so you can lift it back up. I wish I had like a little strap like a lot of vehicles have. For some reason it doesn't have it. But you know, it is a nice flat surface for cargo. Now when you fold down all the seats, you have a huge space back here. It's pretty impressive. As long as you have the key inside the vehicle to start it up, all you have to do is hold the brake and turn this little pretend key. and it starts up so satisfyingly. It doesn't have like a traditional starter. It just kind of spins up the engine, which is really fun. It's really neat. Here's the floorboard in front of the driver's seat. Snaps in place in 2 places. Easy to take out, put it back in, and it stays in place for you. There's your accelerator and brake pedal. The accelerator pivots there at the bottom. Nice big footrest there on the left side, which is a huge plus for me. All right, let's take a look under the hood. Hood latch is here on the left side, right there. I'm gonna go ahead and give it a good tug because it has 2 latches. To open the hood, the little catch release is all the way at the end. You can see this Volvo emblem, and it's actually pointing to it right up here. Just reach in and move it to the right, and it releases the hood. So you can actually see it right here. And move that to the right, and it lifts up by itself, and it goes way up there, which is nice. You can see it actually has the 2 latches there. You can see 1 latch there and 1 latch there, so it's secured to the vehicle nicely. So there's a little bit of a, you want to be a little bit careful lowering it, and I'll show you how to do that in a second. But so there's the release, and it releases here and here. Now you notice there's a seal. There's insulation on the underside of the hood, but there's also a seal that completely seals up the engine compartment all the way around. It is completely sealed. Some vehicles just have like a couple strips of a seal, but it's not like tightly sealed up like this one is. So it's pretty cool. Now everything's mostly covered up. Here's the engine, and it has a soft, like a foam type cover, which is pretty neat. There's the filter where the air comes in. There's also these fuses are here, stuff like that. Now there is this is a turbocharged engine, and the turbo is there in the back, which is close to the firewall. So they have, not only they have an insulated firewall, there's also some heat shielding back there as well. I think you can see it a little bit better here. So the engine is this way, basically. So it's sideways, set up like a front-wheel drive vehicle, even though this is all-wheel drive. So you have the exhaust here in the back and the intake here in the front. And I know it might confuse you because the air is going back here, but it actually has to go through the turbo first, then it's brought into the front of the vehicle. Now, one good thing about having the exhaust there in the back, one good thing is that it's away from the cooling system, which is located here in the front. So it's not, adding heat and trying to cool off the engine at the same time. But it does have it kind of close to the firewall, which is why you have the heat shielding. Now, some of the previous XC90s had a turbocharged and supercharged engine. This is actually a 4-cylinder 2.0 liter, but it's E-charged. So in other words, it's a mild hybrid. It uses an electric motor to help propel the vehicle. Now it's a direct injected engine as well, and it puts out 295 horsepower and 310 pound-feet of torque. Now the torque comes in at 2100 RPMs, which is good. It's a low RPM, so you don't have to rev the engine all the way out in order to get that torque. Now the horsepower comes in at 5400 RPMs though. So this is a 48-volt mild hybrid system. It does have regen braking, and it adds about 13 horsepower is what it's estimating. And it's paired to an 8-speed Geartronic automatic transmission. Now it has the start-stop feature, but the problem with that is that it is tied to the engine. It requires the engine to power the air conditioner, and when it turns off the engine when you come to a complete stop, even when you put it in park, it's going to just have the engine off for a while, and the climate control is not working. So the heat builds up in the vehicle, and it's uncomfortable. And then, so I found a way to get around that is you pat the gas. Even though you're in park, you just pat the gas and it'll turn the engine back on. But yeah, I really don't like that feature. You might be thinking like, how in the world could I reach that hood? It's just so far up there. What you have to do is go here to the side. It doesn't take much energy. It doesn't take much effort to push it down. So kind of get it to about right here. what I do is get it right there and then kind of rest it on the latches. And this requires two hands. Can't just slam it with one hand. This is the way I do it as a safety. I'll take a hand on both sides and just kind of press down. So I'll try to do it holding the camera. I'll latch that one and latch that one. So yeah, I guess you could do it with one hand. But yeah, I like to just do it both at the same time and press them both in to make sure they're latched without like slamming the hood or anything. The blind spot detection system has a little indicator here on the side mirror, and it's just like a little swoopy line right in here. And I like the way it's a little bit different. If you're gonna have it on the glass, it has to be on the actual mirror. Actually has to be kind of different and large to get your attention, because it could get mistaken for other things like reflections and stuff. So I like the way they integrated that nicely. So the inside of the driver's side door is just like the other side, except for it has a few more buttons. So it has the child safety for the power windows. You can turn those off in the back. And then all the windows are one touch up and down. So it's one touch down here in the back, and it goes all the way down. Same thing here in the front. It's one touch up and down. It's a solid glass, no laminated glass. Side mirrors are adjusted here. You just pick a side, left or right, and then you adjust it with this little joystick here in the center is how you adjust once you pick a side. Now if you press both of them together, you can manually fold the side mirrors. Press it again, both of them together, and it'll reopen them. So you, for whatever reason, you want to fold the side mirrors, you could do that, going through a tight space or car wash or whatever. All right, there's the threshold area. Basically same adjustments here on the driver's seat, and once again, highly adjustable seats. Very comfortable once you have adjusted for you. To the left of the steering column is a storage compartment here. Be a good place to put sunglasses or whatever. It goes in there quite a while. Quite a ways. So it goes way in there, and it's all felt lined. So that's nice. And then you also have the ability to open up the power liftgate with that button. And then it has a tilt and telescoping steering column, but it's manual. Kind of surprised for a vehicle like this to have a manual tilt and telescoping steering column. But it is there in the center, so it's ambidextrous. You can get to it easy. Just lock it in place like so. Before I put the shade up, I just want to talk about the heads-up display. The heads-up display is useful. It's not overly done. It's relatively clear and easy to see. It's not super bright. Even at the brightest settings, it's still kind of dim, for me anyway. But it is useful, and serves its normal purpose. Now, it shows the digital speedometer. It shows like the road signs is what it's showing now. But yeah, it's a good system. It just doesn't have a lot of information, and it's not that bright, which some people don't like it bright, which even at the brightest settings though, it's still not that bright. Let's go ahead and go over the seat adjustment real fast, because when you move the button here on the side of the seat, that little up and down button, you have these different options here. So you can control the massage. You can also control the bolster adjustments, the lumbar adjustments, or the thigh extension. So you will need to utilize the screen typically, unless you want to adjust the last thing you just adjusted, then you can do that. But you do have to rely on the screen to set up some of the seat adjustments here, just to let you know. So I'm sitting in the driver's seat, and I have the driver's seat all the way back and all the way down. I'm 6 feet tall, to give you an idea of the potential legroom. And I could drive all the way back with the seat all the way back, but seat a little bit more forward will be a little bit better. But yeah, there's lots of room here. No limitations here on the left side. On the right side, this is here, but it's not really an issue. I haven't had an issue where my leg is touching it much. And even if it did, this is soft here, and then it's carpeted, real thick carpet too. It's not like thin carpet. So yeah, it's I would say that the legroom here is pretty decent. Haven't had any problems. My problem is I keep adjusting the seat. So, it feels like sometimes it'll feel a little uncomfortable, and then I'll have to readjust it. And there's so many different adjustments that, I'm constantly just kind of playing with it. But it's fine. I mean, it's not like it's some vehicles that get in and, it's like not comfortable at all. Okay, so here is the steering wheel, and it is a heated steering wheel as well. So you can see it has the black portion on the outside and then the lighter portion on the inside. Really cool looking. It is pretty firm. It's not like cushy and soft. So depending on how you're holding the steering wheel could potentially, kind of hurt your hand if you're gripping it too hard. Let's say you're going to start a stressful day or something. And also another thing is the lane keep assist, or the pilot assist system, the lane centering. It kind of fights with you a little bit while you're driving. So that's another reason why you feel like you're kind of gripping the steering wheel. But if you don't fight it, if you're just kind of cruising along, you don't fight it, you just kind of let it do its thing, it's really easy to drive. So it's another one of those things you kind of have to get used to. But yeah, it looks really nice. Nice looking steering wheel, a little bit of a grip there. So here on the left side is for the adaptive cruise control. You turn it on and set it with the same button here. You can resume by pushing that button, increase or decrease your speeds. Now, if you just press that, it's going to go 5 mile an hour increments. But if you want to go 1 mile an hour increments, you just press and hold it, it'll go 1. You press it, hold it again, go 1. So, it's a little bit annoying sometimes, but, you can get used to it. Now, in previous years or previous models, generations, whatever you want to call it, with this software system, before the Google system, basically, these buttons would engage or disengage the pilot assist. On this vehicle, these buttons don't do anything that I found, the left and right. Now, this is for the adaptive cruise control, the distance between you and the vehicle in front of you. So, an increase down here is to increase, up here is to decrease. So it seems a little bit backwards at first but when you think about it, it's actually you're pulling away or going forward. So that's what they're thinking. Instead of increase, decrease, it's you're pulling away from, you want to get away from the vehicle in front of you and then get closer to the vehicle in front of you. So that's why I had to retrain my mind to think about it in that way. So here on the right side is for the radio. So the volume for the radio, change the tracks for the radio. Voice recognition here, but then you have the center button, and then you have this button. So that corresponds with the screen. We'll get to that in just a minute. Windshield wiper controls are here for the front and rear. Turn signals here, but you also have the headlights switch here. So the headlights, now these stocks are not illuminated at night. I wish they were, but they're not. So you have off for the headlights, parking lights, headlights on, automatic, and then you can toggle on or off the automatic high beams by toggling it like so. It's kind of spring-loaded. Push this button here for your fog lights, and push this button here for the rear fog lights to turn them on. And then there's a button here on the end if you want to reset the trip. Little reset button there. You can also do it with these other buttons. I'll show you that in a second. Okay, so the gauges are basically one big screen, and you can see on the far left is the digital speedometer, as well as a kind of like a needle type speedometer, and it shows you what the last speed limit sign said, showing 45 miles per hour, which could be handy because sometimes you can't find a speed limit sign. Now it's showing you that the lights are on because I have it on automatic. I'm going to turn them off. You can see the lights go off. There's automatic again. And then it shows that the lane keep assist is on, or it's ready to be used anyway when you set the cruise control. But it also actually, even when you don't set this cruise control, it does keep you within your lanes. It's just not lane centering, it's just lane keeping. Outside temperature, that's showing a little bit hotter than what it really is. I don't think it's quite 100 degrees today, but it's just pretty warm today. And then over here is the RPMs, the tachometer. And it shows you sometimes the engine will turn off when you come to a complete stop with the auto stop feature, and the climate control will not work. So you just pat the gas and it'll start the engine back up. So just keep that in mind. There's the status of the battery, how much charged it is. And then it shows your fuel gauge here and your distance to empty as well, which is nice to have together, and then what gear you're in here. So these two buttons over here, this one is to turn on the map here. But you notice it says, if you want to drive with Google Maps, turn on location on the center screen. Every single time I get in the vehicle, I have to go into settings and turn it on, the location. Every single time. Even if I turn off the engine for a second and then restart it, I have to go back in the settings and redo it. So let's go ahead and do it now, because this is what I have to do every time I get in the vehicle. Go to settings, which at least it gives you that shortcut, turn on. You notice it says when maps is open or destination is set, only when a destination. Now I've gone into the settings and I said allow all the time. You have to go deeper into the settings to do that, and it still resets back to where I have to do this process every time. So now we have the navigation map here, which is nice. Now if we want to turn that off, push that button, goes away, push it again, pops back up. So nice feature. Now right here, the center button, when we press that, it pulls up like a drive computer here. Trip computer is calling it. It shows the odometer, and it shows the manual trip and the automatic trip. Fuel economy, average miles per hour, time, all that stuff is here. And then we can press and hold. We can go over here to reset trip. It says TM, trip manual. So we can reset the trip manual, but not the trip auto. So you can press and hold that to do that. I'm going to leave it like that for now. And that's it. That's all the custom. There's no like customizing the screen or anything like that. All right, so over here is the center screen. Now there's a lot of stuff on the screen, as far as like there's a lot of everything's on the screen for the most part. So you have to adjust the seat using the screen. You have to do all kinds of stuff using the screen. So it's good too. And I actually have a couple videos going over how to use this screen, because it's changed over the years. So I had to update my videos and kind of show you all. I just do like a deep dive on the screen and all the settings and all that stuff. So I'm going to quickly kind of go over it. So this is kind of like the home screen, and you have the different options here. We saw the maps, your phone once it's connected. That's another thing. Every single time I get in the vehicle, I have to reconnect my phone. I don't have to repair it, but I have to reconnect it. And it's a pain, so I have to redo the apps and reconnect my phone every single time I get in the vehicle. Now, what I suspect is that when I go here, you notice I'm not signed in. I don't have a Google account signed in to the Google system. So it's an incentive to sign in your Google account to the Google system. So that way, you probably won't have to do all those things every time you get in the vehicle, but that's the way this one is. Now, I've been in other Volvos that have the same system that doesn't do this, so I'm not sure what's going on with this particular vehicle, but both the maps and have to be reactivated, and the location has to be reacquired, and then the Bluetooth connection has to be reconnected every single time I get in the vehicle. And then you can play the news, but see that if you go here to the left, there's different options here. Here, 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 and here. So you have different options that you can get to quickly by sliding it to the left or right. You can also pull down from the top, has some notifications there like a cell phone. You have this button to go to all your different options. This one to go to your camera system. So the camera system, when you put it in reverse, this will all pop up, but we'll get to that. Actually, we'll get to the camera system in a minute. This button is for the heated steering wheel, 3-stage heated steering wheel, heated seat, and 3-stage cooled seats. They're all 3-stage, which is nice. Passenger side, heated and cooled here. Climate control, just press that, and it pops up this whole system here. Your fan speed, where you want the air to blow, front and rear defrosters, recirculate the air conditioning, all that stuff. Shows up here. Now there is front and rear defrosters down here as a redundancy, but there's not that much redundancy on this vehicle. It's all on the screen. It has a little tiny digital clock up there. It'd be nice if it was little bit bigger. Also, having one here on this screen would be nice. And then it has a shortcut to the settings here. And like I said, I have a full video going through everything here. So that's the kind of the basic rundown of this touchscreen. It does have a volume knob, play and pause, which is very handy, and then front and rear defrosters, four-way flashers, change to the tracks here. This is a temperature sensor. It kind of looks like a little SD card reader, doesn't it? And then that's to release the glove compartment, that button. Really nice. It's the Orfor Sweden crystal shifter. It looks good at night too. Lights up. Got to check out my night video. So the way the shifter operates, it's just like one of those bump shifters. So it's in park now. So if we want to go in reverse, let's push it forward. It goes in reverse. If we want to put it in neutral, pull it back a little bit. It goes in neutral, and you'll see what gear you're in because it'll show right here. All right, and then you pull it back. You don't have to go to neutral every time. You can just pull it back harder to go to drive. But you pull it back again down, it goes into manual mode. You can see it says manual mode there. And you move to the left and right. It's kind of like a ratchet shifter, except for it's left and right. And you'll see right here what gear you're in. If you need to. This is more for like downshifting, if you're going down a steep hill, that kind of thing. Pull it down again to go back into drive. So it just kind of swaps. And then to put it in park, you just hit the park button. All right, so now is a good time, since we're going over the shifter, to look at the camera system. So let's go ahead and put it in reverse, because this is where you're normally going to use it. It pops up and looks like this. Now the top part is for the parking sensors, and when it gets close to something, it'll have you a little visual bar around the vehicle showing you where it is that you have to look out for. And this is the backup camera, and the location here of the camera makes it a little bit limited. You can see it looks like it's inside of a cave, and it's one-sided, so you see more of the tag on one side than the other side. It's not even, that kind of thing. So, you know, the rear camera position on most vehicles is just not good at all, and this is no exception. Even the new C40 electric vehicle had it in this spot like this, and so when it rains, water drops get in the way, and it's just really not good. But luckily, this vehicle has the 360 camera system. So when you press here on the screen, it pops up right here. There's parking sensors, and the rear auto brake also, you can adjust, turn those on or off. The auto brake, if you get close to something, it'll stop, basically. So let's hit this 360 button. And then you can see it gives you like this top-down view of what's around the vehicle, you know. So it stitches the front, the side cameras, and the rear camera. So you notice that the rear camera has a little bit of a stitching error there because of its location. So once again, it could be in a better location. But overall, you can see around the vehicle nicely. But let's say you wanted to focus on a particular side, you can hit this camera and see there on the right side of the vehicle. So as I turn the steering wheel, it actually gives you a guideline there, and also you can see the front wheel moving. We're also having the ability to see the parking sensors, if there's anything beeping or anything. Hit the screen and go back to there. We can see just the front if we want, what's directly in front of the vehicle, and we have the active guidelines. They move as I turn the steering wheel. Tap it, go back to the original. So yeah, we can have either side. We can see the left side, we can see the right side, we can see the back, whatever we want. Now we can do that even when we're not in reverse. So we could just hit that button right there, and let's say we want to drive in the parking lot a little bit, to kind of position ourselves on these lines. If we're going at a very slow speed like this, we can do that and kind of move in the position that we want, and that's nice. Now if we put it in reverse, we can see that as well. Now sometimes it'll pop up the backup camera, and then we'd have to pull back up the 360 camera, but since we already have in this view, it's maintaining it. So yeah, this is really handy, especially if you want certainty on where you are in a particular parking spot or whatever, or a tight squeeze, that kind of thing. It does come in handy. And you can always turn it off by pressing that button. There's this little storage compartment here. You also can slide this back, and this says that wood, nice. There's some cup holders here. And there's little articulating arms here, 12-volt power supply. And a little storage compartment there. So remember how you started the engine? Well, that's how you turn off the engine as well, this little turn knob here. Electronic parking brake is here. You lift it up to engage it. It engages the rear wheels. To release it, you hold the brake, push down, and it'll release it. This is the auto hold feature. When the light is green, it'll actually stop. When you come to a complete stop, it'll hold the brake for you until you push the accelerator. So here's the armrest, and it's not soft. It's kind of rubbery soft, I guess, but it's not like a cushy pillow soft. And then this lifts up, and it's not really that big, so you're not going to share it with your passenger. At least I'm not going to. And so there's a little button right here, and it lifts up, and it doesn't slap back down on you. It kind of stays where it's pretty stiff, so it stays right where it's supposed to be, wherever you let it go. And it goes all the way back here, which is nice, completely out of the way. And then there's a storage compartment here. It's felt lined here on the sides, and then it has like a rubbery mat at the bottom that you can take out, clean, put back in. There's also a USB-C ports here. So you can connect to the system using those, or you can charge a device, that kind of thing. Now it does have a light in there, but it doesn't have the best place for wires. It does have a little spot right in here, little space for wires to go in and out of the compartment, but it's not like a designated spot. It's just kind of like, just so happens to be some space there. It doesn't look like they intended to have any real spot for wires to go in and out of the compartment. The rear view mirror is an auto dim rear view mirror, and it's actually auto dimming now because I have the shade over the light sensor, which is located here on the right side here. It also auto dims the side mirrors, something you don't normally see during the day. Here and here. There's a HomeLink garage door opener control there on the underside of the auto dim mirror. There's tap lights up here. You can turn on all the interior lights with that soft touch button. Push it again to turn it off. Now if you don't want the interior lights to turn on with the door, press and hold this until it changes color. Then now when you open the door, the interior lights won't turn on. Press and hold it again, and now they will. This little slidey thing, slip and slide, is for the sunroof. We'll get to that in a minute. Now this is what they call a nubuck leather suede. Here on the headliner, and looks really nice. And the visors are not that. They're like a leather type material, and they're stitched here on the edge. Really impressive for a visor. It has like this French stitching. Pretty cool. Mirror, light, little clip. Now these do not extend out to shift your coverage here. Also, they don't really have great coverage. When you're like this, you have this hole right here, and when you put it this way, there's this huge hole here. So it's like that's where the sun's always at. Wherever when I'm driving, the sun's either right there or right there. So it's one of those things where the visor doesn't really do a great job, but it is fancy, and it's got the stitching and all that stuff, and it looks nice and feels nice. But as far as actually using it, that's not as good as others, basically. Okay, so you remember this little slippy slide right here? Let's go ahead and use that to control the sunroof. Now this is a huge panoramic sunroof. It goes all the way back there, and it has this shade that covers like, I don't know, 70% of the light. It doesn't cover 100% of the light. I wish it did. But it doesn't. So let's go ahead and slide it back. Just kind of swipe that little thing right there and it'll slide it back for you. All right, let's swipe it again and it'll move the glass. Swipe it again and it moves a little bit further back. Swipe it forward and it'll close it. Now if you just tap the middle, it'll open it up like that. And then you swipe forward to close it. Swipe forward again to close it, the shade again. But once again, I wish the shade covers 100% of the light instead of just most of the light, because on a hot day, it's really nice to have just completely blocking the sun. There's some, you can feel the heat coming through, I like the way these handles are stitched as well. Handles here on the sides. It's pretty cool. They got that cross stitch going on. I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, you can see it. All right. Now let's look at the visibility. Looking at the visibility there in the back, because those headrests make a big difference. Now I wish this had the rear view camera in addition to the rear view mirror, but it doesn't. So you can see those headrests. I have one side down, one side up. Huge difference. Volvo has, good headrests for restraints. They're actually head restraints. It's more for like safety. But they're kind of big. So they do get in the way of your visibility. But you can see on this side, the actual visibility of the vehicle isn't that bad. There's quite a big pillar back there. The A, B, C, D pillar is kind of big, but overall it's not as bad as when you have introduced these headrests in the way. They really do cause a visual problem here. Now it does have the ability to power fold the second row seat headrest, but not the third row seat. So it's kind of interesting, because the third row seat is the one that actually gets in the way more than the second row. But anyways, there's the visibility. Now it does have the backup camera, the 360 camera system, the parking sensors, the rear cross traffic alert, blind spot detection system. All that technology to make you drive the vehicle safely. It's not really a huge deal, but it is good to have as much visibility as you can, just to have certainty when driving the vehicle. Anyways, thank you for watching. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment section, and I'll see you guys next time. Check out the night video, don't forget that.